Hello, in this video I will talk about the war of iron swords against the neo-Nazis, the murderous terror organization Hamas. The war of iron swords is a war between the state of Israel and various terrorist organizations, mainly from the Gaza Strip and led by Hamas, which broke out on the morning of Saturday, the holy day of Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah, 22nd Tishrei, October 7, 2023, in a surprise attack by Hamas on the Gaza Strip, in which the terrorist organization and its partners murdered 1,400 Israelis and foreign citizens and kidnapped at least 245 Israelis and foreigners, of whom 5 were released, some by Hamas, and 1 female soldier was rescued by the Israeli security forces from Gaza Strip. The surprise attack on Israel led by Hamas, which started the war, began under the auspices of a heavy rocket barrage towards the Gaza Strip and also towards more distant areas such as Gush Dan, the Yehuda lowlands, the Sharon, Jerusalem, and Beersheba, Gaza, and the IDF bases in the area, to massacre civilians and kidnap as many soldiers and civilians as possible to the Gaza Strip. The attack, which was the largest terrorist attack in the history of the State of Israel, was carried out in a massacre of civilians in the area surrounding Gaza, which also included taking out over IDF bases, kidnapping soldiers and civilians, including women, children, the elderly, and foreign citizens, while committing crimes against humanity and war crimes, including the massacre at the Nature Festival near Reim, which was the largest terrorist attack in the country's history, in which 270 people were murdered. Other massacres were also carried out in the settlements of Be'eri, Kfar Gaza, Nir Oz, Nachal Oz, Netiv Asara, Chulit, Yachini, Nirim, Nir Yitzchak, En HaShlosha, Kisufim, and other settlements in Otef. Many of the residents of those settlements were murdered and some were kidnapped to the Gaza Strip. Israel was surprised by the attack after a discussion held about 2 weeks before the war. According to government officials, senior IDF officials assessed to the political echelon that Hamas was deterred and not interested in escalation. An IDF spokesman confirmed that there were indeed signs the night before the Hamas invasion, but this didn't lead to escalation alertness level. The IDF mobilized more than 360,000 soldiers into the reserves, the largest reserve mobilization in the country's history. After the liberation of the communities surrounding the Gaza Strip, Israel evacuated 29 communities in Gaza Strip. Residents of 22 communities in northern Israel received a recommendation from authorities to leave the place following the fear in Israel that the terrorist organization Hezbollah would join the fighting more actively during the second week of the war. The escalation in the north developed into low-intensity clashes. The Israeli security forces led by the IDF and the Israel police killed over 1,550 terrorists on Israeli territory. The Air Force and the Navy began mainly after the cleansing of the southern area. Series of air and sea attacks on the Gaza Strip, bombing Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad targets. The intensity of the attacks increased and thousands of terrorist targets were attacked. Later, the IDF launched a series of targeted countermeasures in which a number of senior Hamas terrorists and terrorists who were involved in the terrorist attack were eliminated. On October 26, the IDF began ground raids by infantry, armor and engineering forces in preparation for the ground campaign in the Gaza Strip. Okay, thank you very much.